Hello! I am going to show you how to mod from a brand new install of Windows. Step 1, get Notepad++. Also, I suppose I lied. A brand new user on Windows. This is technically an existing install. Then you'll get Wabbajack. We're going to use that to back up everything we do. We'll come back to that later in the video, around 20 minutes out. I'm going to also keep track of all the things I download, that way I can add them to the description, so you guys can get them yourself quite easily. After I've got these things, I can go get Mod Organizer. So let's just make sure this opens. It did, so we are good to go. Notepad++ open. Mod Organizer 2, we're going to get it off GitHub, and we're going to keep track of the link we get it from. So download it. Save the link. We're going to put it in a brand new folder. So I'm going to make a folder. I'll call it the method dev. And it'll need a downloads folder. Let's rename that. And put all of our archives for everything we download will go into that downloads folder. I'm going to create a new Skyrim instance. I'm going to try and fail to connect to Nexus multiple times. I'm going to download Firefox, wondering if that'll help. It does not, so I give up. I just decided to go ahead and launch MO2, and we'll figure it out. You can ignore that error. Okay, Mod Organizer 2, go ahead and get that open, make a shortcut for it, that way we can get to it easily. No, I don't want tutorials, no, I don't want categories. Yes, I want dark mode. Give me dark mode. Dark mode, let me sign in. There we go, works this time. And I'm just skipping that plugin that kept error. It's the Mod Organizer 2 mod plugin. You can effectively just ignore it. So I'm going to make a mod to put all the Creation Club into. Realize you can't put it in that way. Gotta do it slightly different. So we'll come back to that. We're going to use stock game, which LivelyMods has a lovely tutorial on how to actually use stock game. So it'll make your life easier. I'll also put that in the description. So everything has to come from somewhere. That's like the key principle of Wabbajack. So we edit the meta files to tell it where it came from. We're going to add direct URL equals, and we're going to put that link to where we got Mod Organizer 2. Now when Wabbajack compiles, it'll know where we got it from. And we're going to do that multiple times for different things throughout this, but effectively, if you download something and it's not from the Nexus, you need to copy the URL of it, and then that way you can tell Wabbajack where you got it from. Now we can actually get stock game set up, so that'll be good. Make a folder, call it stock game. You can realistically call it whatever you want. I am going to go ahead and move all the Creation Club content into my Creation Club mod that I made earlier. Realized I was doing that wrong. There we go. Now that we've got that, I need to edit the Mod Organizer INI to actually have the locations of where Skyrim is moved to. So we moved it to stock game from where it was. So that is effectively what I'm going to be doing here for the next minute or so, just relocating. These are all just the tools. Realistically, I could move these all from inside of Mod Organizer 2. I don't have to do it from outside. It was only that first link that I had to do from here, which was where the actual Skyrim directory is, where Mod Organizer is going to look for it. There we go. Now I can save this and launch Mod Organizer 2 again. And look, all my Creation Club content is now submod instead of taking up all that space. I did something wrong because it's having to re-download all the Creation Club. I'm not really sure what went wrong, but I end up fixing it later. Still not sure how that happened, though. A good idea is to always kind of relaunch Skyrim to make sure things still work. Okay, now we're going to get BethINI and SSEEdit. These will be incredibly useful. You'll use SSEEdit to actually check all your plugins as you're adding things. You'll use BethINI to actually make sure your INI 7 aren't warped. Mine end up warped multiple times, so it is quite useful. Since I am downloading this from the Nexus, I won't have to edit the meta file. If I was downloading it from GitHub, I would need to edit the meta file. It's just a good reminder. I'm currently debating which version of BethINI I want. I end up deciding with the basic Skyrim one. I'm looking at the tools I have for my big mod list just to see if I end up wanting to use any of those in addition here. I end up deciding I don't need to, so we're good to go. Copy those two archives into the downloads folder. Query metadata. So for Xedit, we're going to have to add the GitHub URL. There it is. For BethINI, we can just right-click Query Info. There we go. I'm just marking it as installed. Now all three downloads have 3 meta files. Now I make a little tools folder inside of my mod list. Go ahead and extract these. We'll get them set up inside Mod Organizer in a second. Go ahead and rename TS5Edit to SSEEdit and SSEEdit 64. You don't need Fallout or Starfield for this. So I'm about to do something wrong. I add BethINI into Mod Organizer 2. Don't do that. I mean, you can, but you shouldn't. If you're going to run BethINI, run it outside of Mod Organizer. It specifically tells you that when you open it. So, I mean, if I had launched it, it would say, "What are you doing?" But it's easier to just not do it in the first place. Now I need to edit the location of SSEEdit to make it actually launch correctly. Looks like it worked. I'm going to change it to dark mode and disable simple records. I'm going to go to settings, disable simple records. We'll see if we do that real quick here. That will actually let us see land records and nav mesh records as they truly are, instead of as simplified things. Not really sure what I'm fiddling with here. Okay, so now my Skyrim does work, but I need to run BethINI. Make sure you set it to the actual location. Disabling checking for updates. Find Mod Organizer 2. There we go. Yep, found all the right settings. I forget to check borderless here. I also forget to uncheck lock frame rate. Both of those become an issue later. So there's the lack of borderless, which I noticed very quickly to fix. The locked frame rate thing I don't notice for quite a while. Now I'm going to start getting some additional tools. So we're going to get a Creation Kit Platform Extended, we're going to get RootBuilder, we're going to get the Plugin Manager by Parapets, we're going to get the Batch Plugin Cleaner. I consider all four of those things kind of just core tools for your Mod Organizer 2 experience. For the Plugin Manager by Parapets, we're going to have to use an alternative DLL. It's in the comments. It's linked by clearing / a glow in the field. He's quite helpful. Or I suppose they. Not technically sure if they're gender and should not assume. I realize it's kind of sketchy to download a DLL file from MediaFire, but this one is fine. But don't trust me, because clearly I got ransomware hacked recently, so not exactly the pro with security. That is also the point of doing a Wabbajack, is you can't really lose your mod order. Like if you make a Wabbajack, your mod order is always there. So I will need to make sure that all four of those things I just downloaded have a zip file or an archive in general in the downloads folder, and have a meta file in the downloads folder. So it looks like everything but looks like everything has a meta file, so we're good to go. Now I'm just installing RootBuilder, the plugin manager, and the plugin cleaner. Query info, make sure everything has info, and now we're good to go. We can mark all those four things as installed, and everything should work. No, I do not need categories. So I just label this as root. You don't have to do that, I'm just doing that for my own sake. What you do have to do is move everything that should be in the Skyrim root into a folder called root. Anything RootBuilder sees in a folder called root, it will assume goes in root. It's as simple as that. Marking these as installed. Turn on dark mode. I don't know why it took me this long to do so. Also, excuse me, I am horrifically congested. I live in Texas, so allergies are quite intense. Now we can actually use RootBuilder. We need to enable the install setting. Well, you don't need to, I suppose, but that would be helpful. Now that we've done that, if we build it, you see all the files appear on the right. And if we clear it, you see all the files disappear on the right. Those are all the things we have set to be root. When we launch something, it automatically makes them appear, and it automatically makes them disappear. So we are all set up, good to go. RootBuilder's working as intended. Now we can get engine fixes. We're going to need this and the display tweaks as well. Those things will kind of get our Skyrim into the basic functionality that we want. So it'll be, we'll have, as far as plugins go for Skyrim, we'll have the script extender itself, we'll have the address library, we'll have engine fixes, and we will have display tweaks. We will have those 4 things installed by the end of this video, and those will be the basis of us having a functional, stable Skyrim. I will also get confused a little bit here because I'll be wondering why I only have 60 frames a second when I have a higher refresh rate monitor. And the answer will be that I forgot to unclick lock frame rate in BethINI. Just installing these things as root. Now I'm creating some categories, that way I can have a better organization to actually find these things later. If I end up with a bunch of mods, I would like to actually find the different mods. That would be helpful. So, there we go. Gonna go ahead and fix the version numbers on these. Somehow they got messed up. And somehow I don't have the script extender endorsed. Let's go ahead and fix that. Put all these in a group. There we go. Plugin manager at work. Go ahead and relaunch Skyrim, make sure it's working as intended. Yep. I need a save file. I'm gonna go ahead and get one to test. One of the first things I do, I'll install an alternate start mod. That way I can quickly determine how to check save files. Using an existing save file to test is a terrible practice. So, in this case, I'm not testing the game, I'm just testing that it physically launches. Now I'm going to clean all these plugins. I ended up restarting Mod Organizer multiple times and redoing the shortcuts. I'm not really sure what was wrong, but something was screwed up in my SSEEdit. And then when I remade it, I screwed it up again because I had the wrong arguments for launching it. You have to make sure you have the correct data directory. So it'd be -d:, or is that a semicolon? I honestly don't know. And then the actual link. So I had it correct in the beginning, but when I remade it, I had it wrong. Now that I have cleaned all of these plugins, I'm going to go ahead and clean out my overwrites. I shouldn't ever really have anything in overwrites. It's just good practice. It looks like all my creation clubs somehow moved outside of the mod I created, so I'm going to fix that real quick. Then I'm going to look at my overwrites again, make sure there's nothing I need in it. I end up deleting everything in overwrites. It was just logs. Just going to delete that, relaunch the game, make sure it works as intended now that I have all these cleaned plugins. Launch is fine, plays fine, everything looks good, other than my frame rate being 60, which, as I mentioned, is because I accidentally had the locked frame rate on the chart. This is where excuse me. This is where I wonder if display tweaks might be the issue. I might need it, which, to be fair, I do, but there's more to it than just that. I debated if I wanted auto resolution and decided it's not something I need at this moment. I also can't type a capital C for some reason. Not sure what that was about. Okay, now that we've got the locked frame rate thing figured out, we can actually use Wabbajack. So since everything we've installed so far has a download of a zip or 7-zip or whatever archive, as well as a meta file, this should just compile. Except I forgot that you need to start with the compiler settings, not typing, so I'm going to have to retype everything I just typed, which is kind of annoying. There's worse problems. So go to your profiles. Come on. There we go. Profiles. Click your mod list. And that is where your default compiler settings will come from. Got to type up a nice little paragraph there. I eventually realized the reason it was failing to compile was because I was not logged into Nexus, so I went ahead and fixed that. I'm going to jump the screen real quick, that way you don't see my login. And now it compiled! Now we're good to go. That is how you make a Wabbajack. And now I can install that file at any point and recreate my pretty much exact setup. I hope this was helpful to you. It certainly made my life a lot easier once I figured out how to do all this. And I will show you how to actually method patch things in the next few videos. Enjoy!